Hey guys, welcome. Today I'm going to be showing you gentlemen this diagram which illustrates what happens if you don't snap out of it and you don't get your shit together. Alright? So this here is very important. This straight line to success is what all you men should be striving for. And when I say success, I don't necessarily mean just making money. I'm talking about, becoming disciplined, becoming responsible, getting your health in check, getting your fitness, getting your mindset right, getting right with God. If you are not striving towards success, you're in trouble. And this is something you need to take note of as well. Women are waiting at the finish line. Women do not care about your struggle. Women do not care about what problems you have. It doesn't really concern them. So they're waiting at the finish line for a chance at trying to get with and marry that guy, that complete package. And if you're not striving towards that finish line and to achieving success, you're going to have a very difficult time having optionality in your life. Now this diagram here is very simple to follow, but I'm going to explain it in detail. So if that's the straight narrow path to success, this is the path that most men from 15 years old up until maybe 35 years old, they'll spend most of their time partying, going out, spending time chasing girls instead of chasing their goals, drinking, taking substances. And what tends to happen is they make their whole existence, and this comes from the ruling class, they make their whole existence about having fun and enjoying themselves. But as a man, life just isn't like that. As a man, the early years of your life, it is a struggle. You need to sort out what you're going to do, what career you're going to take, what work you're going to be doing, how you're going to earn money, how you're going to achieve a level of success where you can look after a wife and children, if God blesses you with that. But this is most men's path. All right, they go off the path. It goes away from the success and it goes off the path because they're spending their time, focusing on all the wrong things. And so what tends to happen is, as a male, as you start to progress in your life and you start hitting your 20s and your 30s, you'll notice that if you aren't on the ball, you're going to miss out on a lot of opportunities. Like, a lot of women are going to look past you because, like I said, a lot of women are focused on the men that are here. And so, like, for example, 90 of men would be like here, and there would only be 10% of men that are dedicating their life to becoming successful. Now I want to explain to you what happens on the female side. Because females in this situation, they kind of get a jail out of free card, per se. And I'll explain why. So let's just say, for example, you've got a man that's spending the good part of 10, 15, 20 years building up his life, building his success, all right? Females, if they end up going off the path, at some point along the path, a man will come to rescue them. So, for example, you might be a 35-year-old guy and you might be out one night. There might be some girl there that's, say, in her early 20s that has spent the good part of 5 years not, building businesses, not getting to the next level, she spent the good part of 5 years just chilling out, going out, enjoying herself, right? And then that 35-year-old guy, he might, go out once in a blue moon. He might see her, they might have a spark. They might, get together. He might end up marrying her. But little does she know that he spent the good part of 15 years building himself up, whereas she hasn't had to spend that time doing those things. But she still will be saved. You, on the other hand, no one is coming to save you. No one. There's not going to be a female that has achieved a level of success that's going to come and save you. It just doesn't happen. So if you're a man and you don't get your shit together, you'll find that as your life progresses, you're going to come to this point in your life where you might be, say, in your 30s and 40s, and you've spent a good part of your 20s and late 20s just enjoying yourself, going out and living a unfulfilled life. You'll find that you're going to get overlooked by a lot of women, because like I said to you before, women are waiting at the finish line. They're waiting for that head honcho guy. But women, if they're in their early 20s or mid 20s, they ain't looking for a guy that's enjoying himself. They want that alpha male, that Achilles type persona, that Leonidas type persona. A guy that's got his shit together, a guy that's going somewhere. So I wanted to demonstrate this to you because I think it is very important. If you're in your late teens or in your early 20s, I'll be honest, I would highly suggest you give up. Look, I'm not saying never go out again. You might go out once a month. But if you're one of those guys going out every weekend, taking substances, getting on the piss, you're just trust me, you're just going to be falling behind.